Let's see. Who do we got here? Okay. I have a whole talk ready for you. I am excited about it. Nope, it's not going to do it. No. All right. Fine. Next time. So, yeah. So thanks for bearing with me. Well, I use you as my guinea pigs. And oh no, it says I am live. Okay, fine. I'm just gonna, yeah, all right, there we go. Who knew? Playing with new toys now and just seeing what happens. So, welcome to Mindset Monday. If you are here with me live and you would like to put, if you have any topics that you're interested in hearing me talk about, super happy to take a look at those. But what I had on my agenda today is a conversation about the messy middle. I know that as painters, oftentimes we come into a painting and we are like all ready to go, and we have the blank canvas, we have the blank wall. And it's really exciting to get started. You have the idea, you have like a way that you're thinking about doing it, and you start laying things in, making some marks depending on how you work. Some people are really like have all the drawings and like value studies and that type of thing figured out. Other painters are kind of maybe more like me, where I do like little thumbnails or something. So I have an idea, and then I like to kind of make a mess and allow the painting to emerge from that and kind of pull it out. But we get to a point where it's like the messy middle. And what tends to happen at that point is the artist will just kind of go, oh, now this is a mess. That's one of the thoughts that they're thinking is, oh, this is a mess, and I need to fix this, something along those lines. And it gets a little bit stressful in terms of like, how do I figure this out? How do I make what I have on my canvas match what I have in my head? And the thing that I think is really interesting about this is really all that has happened at this moment is there are decisions to be made about the painting. So we have an idea about what the painting is going to look like, probably, or we are, if you're painting observationally, you're looking at what it is that you're painting, and you have kind of like laid it in. And as you're doing this, as you're creating this painting, every mark that you make, you're making a decision about what you see or what you want to say or how you want to represent that. And each mark is sort of like, in some ways, it's closing, it's making a decision, it is making a statement, and at the same time, it's also closing off other options, right? Because now you have a line there that you're responding to. So the messy middle really is just a moment where you're sort of invited to look at your painting and look at the painting as exactly what it is that you have created versus what's in your head. So there's what's in your head and what you want to create, what you think you're going to create, and you sort of get to a horizon line is how I think of it, where I started out on this journey and I have reached this point in it. And it's really easy, I think, for a lot of people to think, oh, I'm lost right now. I'm not sure what to do next, right? And that comes from this sort of underlying thought process that something has gone wrong. And what I want to offer to you is, when you get to the messy middle, that nothing has gone wrong. That this is part of the painting process that we get to at some point, and all it requires is to sort of take stock of where you actually are in the painting, and then make decisions based off of that. it's almost like we get to that point off of adrenaline and inspiration and also like a I want to say like we have a vision of how we're going to create the painting and what it's going to look like and what we're going to do to create that painting. So we sort of get as far as that film in our head has played out. And now things might be slightly different than what you thought they were going to be. Like you may have made different decisions on the canvas than you thought you would in your head. And so now there's a difference between what you thought was going to happen in your head and what's actually on the canvas. And so really all it means is, all right, let's step back, take a look, pause, slow down for a second, and release the idea that that was in your head about exactly precisely step by step how this painting was going to turn out and what's actually on the canvas. And then it's just a matter of making decisions about what you're seeing on the canvas. It's just a matter of making decisions about what it is that is what's playing against each other on the canvas. What do you need to do to bring this to the next level? And that's literally all it is. And oftentimes, I hear so many artists talk about the messy middle, like, okay, it's good to know that other artists go through this. And that I'm not the only person, they say, that experiences the messy middle, but they still kind of see it as a problem. And so what I want to present to you is that it's not actually a problem. It's just part of the process. It's a natural occurrence that happens when we paint. And the only thing really that is required of us at this moment is to then take a look at it and go, okay, what's my next best step? I'm not lost. I know exactly where I'm going. I recorded a podcast episode on this weekend, so you'll get like the full spiel. It's like, I don't remember how long I ended up talking about it, but one of the things that I likened it to is sailing, actually. I have sailing on the brain for some reason. And when you're sailing a boat, you know where you want to get to. Usually let's say you have a destination, you're in a sailboat, you have a destination, but the way that you get there is not in a straight line. You tack back and forth. So you're always moving to your destination, but you are moving there sort of laterally and taking these little curves to get there. And so you may be going this direction, but you know your ultimate destination is here, and you're always moving in that direction. So it's, I consider it the same way the painting too. Like, just imagine that you're on a sailboat and you're going to go from point A to point B, and you get out of the safe harbor, and now you're in the middle of the ocean, and you look around and there's no landmarks for you. It's just all open sea all around you, but you're actually not lost because you know where you're going. And I think it's the same way in the painting. It's just we make it mean when we hit that point where we don't really have we don't have the landmarks that we thought we would see, or that we expected to be there. We still know where we're going. So it's actually not a problem. We're on the right course, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that for me was a really helpful way to think about the messy middle. And just having it is the point in your painting where you, as an artist, like, sometimes it can be the most vulnerable place for the artist, because it is the place where your faith in yourself, in your capacity, in your ability to paint must be stronger than any doubt that you have about yourself or the painting, or whatever it is. Like some artists are like, yeah, I don't really doubt my own capacity, but there is something there that is a little unnerving about that point in the painting, the messy middle. And so that's the piece that the artist really needs to have the faith that this is happening exactly the way it should be. And I have the self-confidence in myself as an artist that I can figure it out, that nothing has gone wrong here. And so just that one thought, when you get to these points in your painting, that nothing has gone wrong, even if the painting's not the way you thought it was going to be, even if your drawing is off, even if the color is off, even if like all these other things, this is part of the process. And your next step is to look at that, look at what's on the canvas, assess it, and make decisions about, like, what is it that I want to adjust? What is it that I want to resolve next? Is it color? Is it line? Is it proportion? Is it maybe the composition that I thought was really going to work? Now that I've got it in place, there's something that's not quite working. What do I need to do to fix this? What do I need to do to make it more in line with what I'm envisioning? Do I need more shapes? Do I need more shapes? Do I need fewer shapes? Do I need areas of calm? Do I need some activation in certain areas? Like really assessing it that way from a problem solving mindset versus, oh my God, what happened to this painting? I don't know what I'm doing. This isn't right. How am I going to fix this? All of those things, like, how am I going to fix this, can be a thought that it really depends a lot on how you are thinking about that thought. Like, how am I going to fix this can be can put you into a problem solving mode. Or like, context is everything, depending on the way that you're saying it to yourself, the way that you're interpreting it. It can also be like, oh my God, this is a mess. How am I going to fix this? Right? It's more exasperation, more like, I can't do this, versus how am I going to fix this? I'm kind of curious about what's happening on the canvas. One comes from a place of curiosity, another comes from a completely different place. Okay, so those are some thoughts about the messy middle, and maybe a different way for you to think about it. Main point is that absolutely nothing has gone wrong in your painting or with your capacity to finish the painting. It's just a natural part of the process. It is an invitation for you to step back, slow down, take a look, and go, okay, I had this, like, the only way that I could think of to explain it to you is I had this kind of like film playing in my head of what steps I need to, how I was going to approach this painting. And I did that, but it's not exactly the way that I thought it was going to be in my head. Okay, so that is just a puzzle to solve, nothing more, nothing less. That's the messy middle. And I also thought it would be really helpful to talk about. So there's the messy middle. I think the messy middle happens all over the place. I'm really fascinated by this. There's the messy middle in an individual painting. There can also be the messy middle in a series of paintings, right? So you start off the series and you're creating this body of work, and you get partially through it, and you have that thought, right? So it is a similar process that you go through of making decisions about, now that you have things on the canvas that you can respond to. It's no longer purely in your imagination. You have something tangible in front of you. It's just an invitation to ask yourself more questions about that. So in individual paintings, I gave you some questions to ask yourself about how to resolve that. You probably have a lot of your own questions, your go-to questions of how you resolve paintings. In a series, like, you can look at, like, okay, how are these? I'm going to do, I don't know, 10 paintings. I've got, 3 that are mostly done and 4 that are laid in, depending on how you work. I tend to work like on everything all at once. And so there's that question. Okay, so are they, like, is that thread that I started with showing up the way that I want it to in this body of work? Did I get distracted? Did I go off on a tangent within the series? What do I want to bring from painting 1 into painting 5 so that I can connect these, right? So it's just like very focused questions versus the very big, broad, like it can really easily turn into a big, broad, oh my gosh, 10 paintings that I'm trying to do. This is where they are. It's not what I thought it was going to be. And I think what really stalls people out is they get into this idea that they have to fix everything at once and they have to know everything at that moment. And you never have to. And when you think that you have to know everything and you have to have the solution already figured out, and you don't, it's super easy to go into that, like, something is wrong. I need to fix this in a like, oh my God, it's broken sense. And it also puts you into this state of overwhelm when you're thinking of everything that has to happen and all the things that you think you should know and all of the things that you think that you should have answers to. When you kind of go down that path, it's this like, you get completely overwhelmed. Like that is what happens. You get the feeling of overwhelmed. It's like all these things coming at you at the same time. And really, you just need to find one question, focus on that one question, and answer that one question. So in a series, it might be about the thread. It might be about like when you're there in that moment, you'll have a sense of what question to ask yourself if you allow yourself to like focus on like, okay, what is one simple thing about this series that I want to correct? And then lastly, the messy middle happens in your career too. The messy middle happens in you creating work, showing work, and selling work, right? So there comes a point where you think like, you're like, okay, I've got this plan. I think this is going to work. And you start executing that plan. And now you have tangible results to respond to. And as amazing as we are as human beings, that we can sort of in some ways predict the future, or we can imagine and we can anticipate and we can be proactive and we can do all these things, very few things rarely go exactly according to plan. So that messy middle really is just an invitation for you to step back and assess and go, okay, this is what I thought was going to happen. This is what's actually happening. This is the tangible results of everything that I have done. All I need now is to problem solve, right? So all I need now is to look at like, okay, I did all this work and I thought like, I want to get into that gallery, right? And then they said no, right? Something like that maybe, or, and then that is just an invitation to make a decision about what it is that you want to do and how you're going to do it. Do you want to go into another gallery, or do you want to look at what is it that you could do to make your work fit into that gallery, be stronger for that gallery, whatever it is, develop a better relationship with them. Like, how do you make it inevitable and impossible for you not to be in that gallery? It's an invitation to problem solve for that. It doesn't need to be the like hammer that comes down and destroys everything, or just makes you go like, oh my God, this is not what I wanted. It's just an invitation for you to problem solve. Okay. So I think if there's one thing about the messy middle, I'm going to actually I'll give you two. Okay. Number one is it's not a problem. Nothing has gone wrong. It is happening exactly the way it should be. And you are precisely where you intended to be, right? So think of the sailboat. Second thing is, it is also the point where you really need to remember that your faith in yourself at this point needs to be stronger than any doubt you have. This is when you need that the most. This is when you really need to like have your own back, have that self-confidence that not that you know how everything's going to turn out, but you know, you trust yourself to be able to figure it out. Whatever is thrown at you, you are an amazingly intelligent human being and you can figure this stuff out. Okay, so those are the two things. Nothing's gone wrong, and your faith needs to be stronger than your doubt, especially in that moment. All right, that is what I have for you today. Let me know, for those of you who are here live, in the comments, if there is anything else that you're interested in hearing me talk about. And lastly, I want to invite you to join us in Growth Studio. Growth Studio is my monthly membership. It is where we dig deep into these concepts and I coach you on it. And we do critiques. We actually have a critique this afternoon in about an hour and a half with Growth Studio members. It's a lot of fun and it's super, super impactful. And this is exactly the kind of stuff that we do in team. All right. Have a fabulous week, everybody. And I wish you the best painting experiences. And I love it. Okay. So Tori just wrote, this is good. Tori just wrote that one thing that she likes to do is to take a picture midway on all of what you paint and then look at those halfway images of the past, right? So look at the halfway images from the past where we see we always face the messy middle and you were able to move through it. So for those of, I think it's really, that is a really good sort of like way to collect evidence in your favor that you always make it through. I love that, Tori. Thank you so much. All right. Have a fabulous week, everybody. Happy painting. And yeah, see you next Monday. Ciao.